Monterey's Cooking Pisto style is brought to you by the Monterey County Vintners and Growers Association.
Hi, welcome to Monterey's Cooking. I'm John Pisto. Folks, I wanted to welcome a very, very, very special guest. He just arrived from Chicago, the very famous Charley Trotter.
John, hi.
Really, really pleasure and honor to have you
I'm
with
delighted
me today.
to be here.
Really. And folks, he just got off the airplane. We just picked him up about an hour ago. But hey, you look good. We give you some coffee. He's all ready to go. Look at this. He just laid all this stuff out. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Charley. Charley is, one of our most famous chefs of America. He's got 4 books out. You've probably seen them. This is one for me. Gourmet Cooking for Dummies. This is real easy. This is complicated food made easy. Tell us about it a little bit, will you?
We're kind of known for our involved food that really is ingredient-driven food, pristine products in the height of their season, where we take a little bit of time and care and put them together in a way where it may be recognizable, but maybe at the same time a little bit different. And while it's certainly based in the Western European tradition, French, Italian tradition, there's sort of an Asian minimalist aesthetic to things. That is, we get rid of cream and butter and we play up beautiful explosive flavors and different textures and things like that. Our books that we're mainly known for are more like restaurant cookbooks, I guess some people would say, or they're for the interested amateur. A lot of wine notes, photographs with each and every dish involved, kind of gives you an idea about how this would go together. But aside from a restaurant cookbook, a book featuring vegetables, a new book featuring seafood, which is really exciting for us because this is broken down into wine type. You actually open the chapter to Viognier or to Pinot Noir or to Sangiovese. All the dishes in the given chapter are suited to that wine type. So it's a real food and wine lover's guide to how to do things. And again, the photographs and everything else.
Good.
And sometimes they're a little much, they're a little intense, but it gives you an idea. This is how it could go together. This might inspire you to go out and look for gooseneck barnacles in this case and put them with jasmine rice and do something with a little flavored oil.
Good. All right.
So it's fun.
Very, very interesting.
Put together your ideas and you get them out. This is a book that's meant to kind of make everything a little bit more accessible. One of the great rewards for me has been people going out and buying the Dummies cookbook, Gourmet Cooking for Dummies, and saying, this whole time I thought your food was so involved, but I realize I can do it. And then they call me up and say, we went out and got these other books because we thought they were maybe too much.
I've eaten at your restaurant with our friend Bill Rice, and I would say your food has a very much sophistication to it. So, it's almost, I would say, intimidating, but I'm glad you did this to make it look simple because, people shouldn't be afraid
in the end, food is simple. And,
should be,
I think one thing we can do right now is show exactly how food can be put together in a really beautiful, spontaneous way. And, you have ideas in your head, you have certain recipes, but
Good.
I've got an idea here where we're just going to put together some things. And
before we get started, I'd like to introduce everybody, and I know you don't need an introduction to this. This is our featured wine, the Chalon, and this is their Pinot Blanc. This is world class also.
This is on our wine list, by the way.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. These are very, very, very delicious and very well made wines. Okay, folks. Charley, let's go to it.
Well, to me, food should be able to do 2 things for you. We ought to be able to, number one, it's got to be healthy. Food is about sustenance and surviving, but beyond that, with the littlest bit of effort, it can be this very, very sensual experience. And today we're going to focus on sensuality. We're going to blow off the idea of sustenance and nutrition because those things will take care of themselves. We're going to worry about how great things taste and satisfying sort of an aesthetic pleasure, if you will.
Okay.
It's the great time of the year. It's the beginning of the spring, and we've got all these wonderful early spring vegetables coming out, and I think since we're here, I'm here in California, I want to work with one of the most famous foodstuffs available, and that's mushrooms. You guys are known for great mushrooms, all different types, and we're going to make a dish here that I think will be perfectly suited for this wine. Sort of an appetizer, featuring several types of vegetables, small squash. I have a little bit of rutabaga that I've cut into a dice, some peas. We've got the end of winter. We've got the beginning of spring, different herbs and some sprouts. So I'm going to get you going here. Maybe you can cut this up. What do you call this kind of mushroom?
This is actually a giant Cyprus agaricus. I picked this morning for you.
Can I call this a porcini? It's not the
Well,
same? It looks really close.
It does. No,
Okay.
it's different species.
All right.
This is the type that grows that you buy in the grocery store,
But
or the Portobello, same family as
But
that
it looks
one.
like it's got this really
It-
nice
it
straw
does.
kind of
Yes.
earthy flavor.
Yes.
So
And it does. If you smell it, it smells like a green apple.
it's beautiful.
Isn't it nice?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, real hard, solid.
Well, you know what? This is so special. I think I'm going to cut this up.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to have you cut these up for me. Okay.
Okay,
So we're
thank
going to
you.
do a switch here, and I'll just have you slice those, kind of fine. You know,
All right.
sort of a slice. And in the meantime, I'm going to come over and cut this up a little bit. And we're going to make a salad of sorts, featuring some smoked salmon, and the mushrooms here, and the squash.
Okay. Now-
We're just going to get them going in a saute pan.
All right. Now I noticed that your salmon is your own now. You've got a fairly large product line now. I understand,
Well,
including your own knives. And,
we've got some knives out that we've developed with Chicago Cutlery that we're very proud of. It's a chef type of knife, and it's got a very sharp edge to it. It's got a really beautiful feel in the handle. We don't have a lot of products. Some smoked salmon. You know, chefs, sometimes I must confess to you, I'm going to get just a touch of olive oil going in this pan. And we're going to get our mushrooms in here. Chefs work in a medium that is so fleeting. What we do every day is consumed by the guests in the dining room, and if they enjoy it, that's great. We're going to get this going for you over here,
Okay.
so we'll have you begin to saute these as well. Sometimes I get a little envious of craftspeople or artisans or artists that practice their craft in more of a permanent kind of medium. So people that go into an album and a studio and record an album, or people that will do something on a canvas. It's there forever. Well, here's a recipe that we've used in our restaurant for years and years. Our smoked salmon, citrus cured with ginger, a little bit of vodka's in there, and all these different herbs and such. Well, I'm thinking, how can I do this on a larger scale? Well, I've shown my fish guy how to cure it, how to smoke it, exactly what to do, and now he's come back and he's shipping us our very own recipe. So this is a little bit of Charlie Trotter's done outside the restaurant, but available to a much larger audience.
king salmon.
This is Atlantic salmon.
Atlantic
Some
king?
farmed salmon, Norwegian salmon type of base. So we'll get that in there. What do we get? Just a touch of salt here. And a little twist of pepper. And I think, you know, we're actually going to add some herbs. Why don't we get some, I'm going to have you chop those up.
All right.
And we're just going to add a little bit of sage right to the vegetables as we're sauteing them. I'm going to add thyme to the mushrooms. Oh, the aroma is incredible. I'm getting this sort of
Isn't that a nice mushroom?
woodsy
isn't it?
flavor.
Yeah.
It's just really, really nice. So we'll get those, just softening them up. We don't want to go too high. I don't want to overdo it here. Just brown them a little bit.
Okay.
And we'll just keep going. And next we're going to make a pea sauce to go with this.
Yeah.
So rather than use the peas straight, we're going to actually blend these peas up with a little bit of water. Let's just get that down
Yeah,
a
this
little bit.
is pretty
So I've got the peas that have been shelled and poached off, just
Right.
softened up. We put them in a blender with a little bit of water. I don't need too much here. And I've got some basil-infused olive oil. We're going to add a little bit of this for some flavor. Don't need too much. Touch of salt. I'm just going to go ahead and blend this up here. I like to add different texture notes. So we have the mushrooms. We're going to have the puree of the pea, giving it a little bit of a smooth kind of a very sexy feel.
Okay.
Let's just try that here.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
keep an eye on us
Okay.
here. Because we're like,
I'll keep these jumping.
you know, the key thing to all cooking is tasting as you go, right?
Yes.
So-
yes, I do.
I got to taste that. I need a
know
little
that.
more salt. I think I'm going to add just a spritz of this sherry wine vinegar. Not too much. A little touch of that acid. That just kind of cuts into it a little bit, which is nice. And that's going to be part of our sauce. And I think we're very, very close here. How does everything look? That
Good.
looks
That's
great. That
ready.
looks good. We're
Good.
ready to pull that off
All right.
the heat. Don't want to overcook it.
Nope.
So now we're more or less ready to go.
When we come back, we're going to put this dish together. Okay, Charlie, let's put this dish together.
You know, this is the beauty of olive cuisine. There are so many different ways to present things. We can do it in a fanciful way, in a formal way. We can do it in a spontaneous way. And it's sort of like whatever you're in the mood for or whatever the occasion calls for. If it's a special dinner party or maybe it's just for the family. So we're going to do a way that's, I guess, right down the middle. Half fancy, half simple.
Good.
We're going to start by taking a couple of our beautiful mushroom pieces that are sautéed. One thing I like to tell people is when you've sautéed something using a little oil or a little butter, if you want to blot it off a little bit, that's a nice thing because the oil's got a nice flavor, but we don't want to have too much oil involved. So we'll just kind of blot off the excess here, put a few pieces on the plate in a free-form kind of manner. We'll do the same with our squash, tiny squash zucchini pieces, and again, blotting them just a little bit, just strewing them about in this free-form manner. And I think we'll take a couple of our sprout pieces. These are radish sprouts. And whenever you think of food, you want to think of, yes, you think of an individual ingredient, but you also want to think of how everything's going to fall together at the end of the process. So I'm imagining all these flavors together right now in my mind's palate, if you will. So the smoked salmon, the meaty, earthy mushrooms, the clean, cleansing radish sprouts, the delicate little pieces of squash, all kind of working together. And I'm thinking, how will this go together in my mouth as I'm consuming this? So we'll add a little bit of salmon, place a couple pieces on here, and again, this very sort of free-form way.
Very unusual combinations there. You got
Well,
with the squash and the mushroom and
you know, I just think
salmon.
of what's.
I'm sure it's going to taste delicious.
Well,
too.
who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. I'm just
Very
going
nice.
down the track here. But you know, I think food is a lot like music, and you base things on a precedent, a history, how things should go together. But you know, you can also interpret things, and it's like I just would love to have salmon and mushrooms right now, in a very light preparation, not a heavy preparation.
Now, in your kitchen in Chicago, geez, I noticed you had a large staff. And
Yes.
didn't you have a chef's table also in your kitchen?
Well, we do. We have a table right in the middle of the action.
That
And,
okay. What that means, he has a table that's right in the kitchen, and what's it seat?
Try that,
Oh,
will you
very
please?
good.
Okay. Well, it seats 4 people generally, and it's a way for
very
us.
good.
We're very, very proud of our kitchen team, and they work so hard. And I think sometimes if people can see really what's done behind the scenes, they're just amazed at the teamwork,
nice
the manpower, the what goes on, and the decorum that is exhibited by these hardworking people. And so it's our way to kind of show that off, and it's also a way for the chefs to see what goes on with the diners. The diners might say, "Oh, I think this is really great. I love this dish," or pass the compliments on to the chef. But a lot of times that never really makes it back to everybody, and they get a chance to see this for themselves. I just spooned a little bit of the pea sauce on here,
Gorgeous.
a puree of pea.
Gorgeous
And we can
color.
go back and put a few more. Remember, these have been pre-cooked. We cooked these in advance, so they're nicely al dente, just the way peas should be. A little bit of crunch still left, and they're right at the beginning of the season right now. We're going to take some of that basil oil basil infused olive oil, which you can make on your own very simply, or you can buy some great basil olive oils. We take basil leaves, blanch them in boiling water, shock them in ice water, and then blend them with oil. Let them sit for a day or two, and then just decant it off through a strainer. And it explodes with flavor.
Look at the color there.
Very, very.
It's like emeralds.
It's pretty, certainly.
Gorgeous, gorgeous colors.
We're going to spritz some of this sherry wine vinegar on. And this is, in a sense, we're making a vinaigrette here, because we've got oil that we've incorporated by sautéing the vegetables. We've got a little richness from the fat of the fish. We've got this basil oil, but we're going to go ahead and just spritz a couple droplets of sherry wine vinegar or citrus vinegar. Keep in mind the idea of interchangeability of ingredients. So if you want to use blood orange juice or lemon juice, that would work too.
Would work.
So why don't we go ahead and
Beautiful.
little twist of pepper, kind of finish that, and maybe a couple more of these interesting radish sprouts for a bite. And this becomes a dish that we can kind of throw together at the last minute. You know, the mushrooms could be sautéed in advance. We don't have to do it a la minute like that. In this case, we can enjoy this warm and cold. Not, we've got warm mushrooms, but the salmon's cold,
Just
so we've got an
beautiful.
interesting temperature contrast going as well.
Very,
So-
very nice. Good. Very
Can I get
good.
you to try this? Would you
Good.
be?
Oh, I'd love to.
Would you be a guinea pig here?
Well,
Let me
I hardly ever say no.
get you. Let's see what you think of this. See if we're on the right track here.
Okay.
There we go.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. Who knows if this is even going to work, you know?
Mmm. Mm-hmm.
Can we put it on the menu?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting how the salmon plays off of the vegetables. Really, very, very delicious. Really delicious. Thank you.
Good.
Well, that would look real easy, didn't it, folks? All you need is about 20 years experience
Oh, no,
in the restaurant business, and you can do
You
it.
need great ingredients, and they all fall
No,
together.
that was very, very impressive. When we come back, Charlie's going to take us to another dish. Okay, folks, we're going to put together this dish. It contains squab and some 3-4 varieties of beans, and I'm going to team it up, Charlie, with one of our great Pinot Noirs here from
It would actually
Chalon.
work great with this
This
dish.
should be absolutely perfect. You know, this is one of our sponsors, Monterey County Vintners and Growers Association. This is going to be a great wine with it. Okay, let's see what we can
Okay,
do
well,
here.
we've got some,
Wow.
this is, again, I always think of the time of the year, where it's, we may eat a little differently in the Midwest, where in February, it's normally 0. Here, you've got a 50-degree day. So for me, I've got my head in Chicago, but I'm physically in Monterey, so I've got to think of a dish that will include ingredients that are in the height of their season right now, but that will reflect the atmosphere out. And anyway, we've got this pigeon breast, squab breast, as it's known. These mushrooms. These are black trumpet mushrooms, aren't they?
Black trumpets,
I don't want to
exactly.
say the wrong thing around here.
No. They got 4 or 5
Okay.
different names. So
And we have some. We'll get the squab breast going right away here. Get them in a pan, stickless pan, so don't need too much oil.
Now they've been marinating.
They've been marinating in a little olive oil and some herbs,
Okay.
basil, some rosemary, some peppercorns. We can season them just a little bit. I have lentils that I've cooked off a little bit. These are ready. All I have to do is heat them up. In fact, let's get these in the pan right now. So this will make up part of the dish. Squabs are cooking. Thank you. I've got my sauce, which really is nothing more than some Pinot Noir reduced very, very slowly over vegetables. So I take carrots, onion, celery, apple, caramelize them, bring out their natural sweetness, and then I would slowly reduce the red wine over the vegetables. So it picks up this very complex, beautiful flavor. I'm going to give you...
And now you told me that you used, this is about a...
This is
bottle
about
and a half.
a bottle and a half of red wine reduced down to about a cup. Try that. And because we've reduced it over the vegetables,
Wow, so intense.
we take
My
out
gosh.
that astringency and that tannin, that harsh tannin. This can serve as a sauce by itself. We don't even have to put butter in this. We can use it straight. So
Very intense.
we're just going to flip these
Delicious.
breasts over here. Keep this going. Mushrooms. I'm going to actually get these mushrooms going. I like to cook sometimes in the same pan.
Sure.
This way I've got the juices from the squab flavoring these beautiful mushrooms. We've got a touch of seasoning on here. Don't need too much. We can always go back and season more. It's better to season light,
Okay.
and then you can come back and add more if you want to. So we'll add that. You know, here's something else. I brought these from Chicago. I'm a big root vegetable fan. Small beets, golden
Oh, boy,
beets,
already
and
cooked.
some already cooked, poached off. Makes it easy to kind of work with.
Fantastic.
Some burdock root if you want to. Kind of related to salsify, but a little heartier. Just going to cut some pieces and throw this in at the last minute.
Tremendous.
And remember, you know, it's kind of like what's available, what you're in the mood for. We could make this very same dish. Now watch how I do this. I'm going to get my birds out of the pan. Remember, I'm a chef. I work in a kitchen. My fingers have a few calluses, so I can put them in the pan. I wouldn't do that at home, but you've probably seen me do that a couple times.
Yep.
My mushrooms are pretty much cooked. We're going to take these out. And the way I'm going to finish these vegetables is literally just steam them in some of this squab fat that remains in the pan. I'm going to add just a couple droplets of water. And literally, those will be ready to go. We can even add a touch of butter for some richness. Start off by taking some of our lentils, literally just putting them on the plate.
They almost look like caviar, doesn't it?
Little beads, little
Yes.
beautiful pearls.
Yeah, they are. Pearls.
You know, some people don't like squab or pigeon. Other people find that, you know,
You-
not so easy to come by.
You always serve it medium rare to rare?
I like to leave it a little bit underdone.
Yeah,
But remember, we could do this with chicken. So if you want to imagine the very same thing with a big, beautiful chicken breast, or just spooning some of these beautiful vegetables here in the center. Got a few of our beans, yellow wax beans and such. We'll put these over here. And I'm just going to take my mushrooms, black trumpet mushrooms flavored with that herb. I can cut these or leave them. I think I'm just going to cut them one time here, right in half. See that beautiful
Perfect.
plump meat right in there? We're just going to kind of place these pieces around the edges.
Doesn't that look good?
Well, this kind of meat is so flavorful and so easy to work with.
Juicy.
I could take the beans here, or I could serve them on the side, really simply. Turn all that off. Just place a few pieces around the edges.
Wow.
In a fun way, spontaneous way. No big deal. Remember, sometimes it's neat to take an extra minute with the food, and you've got a special occasion. Maybe you've got the boss coming over for dinner.
Sure.
Maybe you want to do something special for the friends that are coming over. This is that red wine that we've reduced very, very slowly. This is going to give us this really, really nice kind of pungency. I'll spoon a little bit over the meat. I could add some herbs if I want. Chop them up at the end. And this is perfect for that Pinot Noir.
It is. It would be just incredible with this. Nope. Perfect wine.
But to me, this is like a transition type of course. From winter to spring, it's got a heartiness because of the lentils and the bird, the red wine reduction, but it's also got a lightness because we don't have a heavy reduction. We don't have cream or butter.
No, it works,
So-
works well. I mean, these two plates are just absolute masterpieces. Can't thank you enough.
Well, great.
It's just
Thank you.
really, really nice. Folks, I hope you enjoyed. This is our 100th episode today. Charlie did beautiful masterpiece creations here. And I'd like to thank all our special guests that are here for our 100th anniversary. Okay, Charlie, thank you
Thank you,
again. Okay, thank you, folks. See you next time.